I know that kickboxing is a physical sport, but today I'm going to be talking about the mental shifts that I had to make to be consistent and keep me going through the hard times of like my kickboxing journey. And once I did these mindset shifts, it really took my kickboxing to a whole nother level. And I'm going to tell you guys that on this video today. All right, guys, my name's Chris. Welcome back to Sicat Kickboxing Club, where I teach you the fundamentals of kickboxing. And yeah, thank you for sticking around. I've gotten a lot of, first and foremost, I want to say I've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys, and I appreciate the positive but constructive comments. I'm always trying to make these videos better for your viewing pleasure, and really, I just want to give value out to the people, right? Like that want to learn the art that I love so much. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you're getting value out of it, please do so. Please subscribe, like this video, and also share it with a friend that wants to learn the art of kickboxing. All right, guys, like I said, today I'm going to be talking about the mindset shifts that really changed the game for me especially when I started kickboxing, because I know that when you start something new, it can really be very intimidating, honestly, right? And it could be really discouraging to keep going just because that at first, I mean, you're terrible at it, right? Like we all are. Whenever you kind of start anything, you're lost. You're like getting punched in the face, like deer in the headlights lost. Like you don't know what you're doing at times. And then there's all these aspects of, you know, if you go to a bigger gym, and you don't know anyone, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, like you get even more anxiety because you don't feel like you're part of the social culture. And I'm here to tell you, like, that's okay. So we're gonna go over all those things. And yeah, when it comes down to it, your mind is the general, right? Your mind controls your body. That's why you're able to learn and get wisdom, and then apply these techniques, right? Like when you're kicking or when you're punching, you know when to move your hip. That all, if you think about it, that all comes from the mind. Like sometimes we often think like, oh yeah, we're just kind of like moving our body. Well, your mind has to tell your body to do that, right? So it only makes sense that when you're transitioning into kind of like you're getting good at kickboxing, it's time to kind of switch up that mindset, because I know at first you're going through these moves and you think it's all physical, but really you're connecting these synapses in your brain, right? That's how you get good at stuff. Biologically, what really happens, and I'm a big book reader, like don't get me wrong, I'm not like a scientist or anything, but you're really connecting the synapses in your brain, and that's how you're forming on how to do these techniques. That's how you're making it second nature. So number one mindset, and I read this on James Clear, Atomic Habits. It's not my idea, but it does relate to everything we do in life, and not just kickboxing, but especially kickboxing. So what he says is that you have to make it like a part of your identity. Oh man, this one was a big one, right? Even if you were just doing it, you've only been doing it for maybe like 2 days, 3 days, or a week, or even 2 weeks, or even maybe a month, right? A little bit longer. You have to make it a part of your identity. So what I mean is that after you get done with like say a class or maybe like a training session that you did at home, well, you're a kickboxer, right? Because people will often, like in their language, it especially shows in their language, that they'll often say, yeah, you know, I'm trying kickboxing and, you know, I'm like pretty bad at it. Well, I mean, duh, like we all are when we start something. So a lot of people will get discouraged by that, because all of a sudden it's like we're superhuman all of a sudden. Then when we suck at it, like we just want to give up. But I get where it comes from. Like I get where the frustration comes from, right? Like we feel uncomfortable, we're out of our comfort zone. Our body hasn't gained that second nature, that dexterity that we need. The synapses, like I said, isn't connecting to our brain. But here's the key, it's language. So when I started kickboxing and I completely sucked at it. And on another video, I talked about how my MMA coach had these sons, right? They had these sons, and I was hitting the bag well. I thought I was doing good, you know, I was doing these techniques. It looked good on camera. I was like, dude, I'm ready to fight. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm ready to be a world champion. I had a rude awakening on that one, right? That was a complete reality check. But what kept me going when I get discouraged is that, oh, wait a minute. I am a kickboxer, right? I'm learning, I'm experimenting, but I am a kickboxer. Not that I'm trying, I'm a kickboxer. You know why? Because I'm actually practicing the moves, right? Far too often, we play the comparison game to other people that motivated us to go into kickboxing in the first place. Like, we'll watch like a top level, you know, say for boxing, you'll watch like a Mayweather or like a whatever, Manny Pacquiao, or nowadays it's, you know, whatever, the heavyweights, kind of blanking out on these new boxers that are coming up. But yeah, they're top level athletes, and all of a sudden we think we're them. All of a sudden they motivated us in the first place to start boxing because we thought it was so cool, and you want to learn the skill and along everything that comes with the skill. But we think we could just jump into it by watching it, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're world-class champions all of a sudden. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. I've been doing this for decades, right? Like, I've been doing it for over a decade, and yeah, I'm not even there. Like, in my mind, I'm not even there, but that's a good thing because it gives me a growth mindset and the ability to have curiosity every day. So it makes it fun for me every day. So I make it a part of my identity, which helps me get up in the morning and say, and be really proud of myself to say, yeah, I'm a kickboxer. Like, I have a lot of pride in that, right? Like, if you're a chef, you're like, yeah, man, I'm a chef. Like, that's a title. It's like, yeah, I kickbox, I train. You have proof of it. I mean, you go to class, you're literally working out, so why wouldn't you be, right? I think we have sometimes, and there's this, you know, principle, and I'm sure some of you guys heard it, that there's this thing called imposter syndrome. Like you're doing something and you can't believe you're doing it, and you're like, wait, am I really doing this thing? Am I really getting good at this thing? Well, that's kind of self-sabotaging. It's kind of self-hate, right? That's why this is more of a mindset shift. It's not like a physical shift, right? But the more you do it, the more you make it a part of your identity, right? So you're telling yourself, in my mind, I'm like, man, like say Dustin Poirier is my favorite UFC fighter. Let's see, in boxing, it's Manny Pacquiao. In kickboxing, it's Nicky Holstein. He's world class. And I picture myself like as them. I make almost them, I look up to them to make it my identity, right? Like I'll kind of visualize myself that I'm standing like them, I'm boxing like them, I have their demeanor, even when they have like a victory, and then, you know, how they walk around and they're like, yeah, let's go, you know, they're fired up. That's what I do. That's how I think in my head. It's kind of like when we were kids, right? We had, and this goes along identity, we had this thing where it's like, oh, 5 seconds on the shot clock, you're like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, and all of a sudden, you know, you're playing by yourself in the court, you're visualizing the stuff, and then that's an identity. You're making it like seem like it's you, right? You are, no matter how long you've been doing it, even if it's just for a day or two, you're a kickboxer. Like, you're whatever you're doing because you're doing it. Like, you have the proof. That's the comfort in it. The second thing to do is to change the way you speak to yourself. It's language, like I said. It's like, oh yeah, you know, when you talk to people, make it be known that that's what you do. It's like, yeah, tell them like, yeah, I learned this thing, like in kickboxing, it's really cool. And then you could even demonstrate it, you know, if you want. You could be like, yeah, you kind of move your hand this way, and then you kind of do this, and then I got hit a couple times, but you know, it's okay. Like, it felt actually not bad. And yeah, I'm gonna go tomorrow and I'm excited to do these moves. You're making that a part of your identity. Now you're talking yourself up. You're embodying whatever that you're actually doing. And there's no need to feel like an imposter, hence imposter syndrome, because you're actually doing the moves. Like, you're actually going to class and you're actually doing the moves. So again, just to reiterate, like the book, that's why I'm talking about this, is that James Clear said, he said, instead, like say if someone is smoking cigarettes, right? And then they're trying to quit and they've quit for like a week. compare it to two guys that quit at the same time, right? And then both of them quit for a week, and one guy's like, I'm trying to quit. Yeah, it's really hard. And then one guy's like, yeah, I quit cigarettes for good. Just by that, it goes into your subconscious. Like, you're embodying what you're actually doing. Like, you quit for a week, that means you quit cigarettes. Where the other guy's like, yeah, he's giving himself room to go back to that bad habit. He's like, yeah, I'm trying, you know? And then his body language is probably all down like this. Yeah, I'm trying, but it's hard. And I don't know, you know, I'm just trying to give it a shot and all that. It's like, no, dude, it's like, you quit, man. Have a lot of pride in that. That's your identity now. You just quit, right? Like when you say trying, you're almost expecting to go back. That's not good. Where you should be say, yeah, I quit. And look, even if you do go back, keep practicing it, right? Because if you relapse, and this is kind of like, you know, from me being like an alcoholic from a long time ago, even if you relapse, you're still learning to not how to relapse, right? Like, even if you relapse, you're gonna quit and then relapse again, and then, but it's your language that's gonna help you, that's gonna see you through that. You're gonna be like, yeah, I quit. And then you do that constantly. And even though you're failing, because that's how we do it, we fail to grow so we can adjust, you still have that language. You're like, yeah, I quit. And then it's gonna get longer and longer and longer. Like, say if you're smoking cigarettes, you're, say you quit for a week and then you go back, right? Even though you say like, oh yeah, I'm trying to quit, but you know, like, and you go back, and then you go back to it. Or even if you say, oh yeah, I quit, and you go back to it, well, you're learning that language has a lot of power in it. So even if you relapse, like say on smoking cigarettes, and then you go back to it, and then you say, okay, this time I'm done, there's gonna be a progression where you completely stop, or you're gonna stop for a very, very long time. Just as long as you fix how you talk to yourself and you fix that mindset shift that you're not a smoker, okay? I'm not saying that's a guarantee. I'm saying it's more likely that you'll do what you say because you're embodying it. It's going into your subconscious, and it's like kickboxing. When we do these techniques, it's just going to be second nature. All right. So the second one that I wanted to cover is visualization. I talked about it a little bit in the first habit that we did, or the first habit that I went over, but this one is a big one. And I'm not talking about like some woo-ha, like, yeah, you know, just as long as I think it, attraction, whatever, like, you know, like if I think it, the universe will give it to me. I'm not so much talking about that, okay? So I'm gonna give you an example. Say if I'm just like, if I'm shadow boxing, right? This is a good one. If I'm shadow boxing and then I'm pretending, I went over this on another video. If I'm pretending that someone's here, well, guess what? I'm actually visualizing that I'm fighting someone, right? So if I'm visualizing my invisible friend over here is trying to hit me with a punch, well, I'm blocking it, but then I'm literally simulating what I think is going to happen right in the future. So what I like to do is that when I shadow box, say we'll stick with that example, when I shadow box, I'll kind of, you know, I'll block the way I do with technique, like that, and then I'll slip and then counter, and then I'll visualize that I'm hitting him in the face, and then he's backing up, and then I'll go in with like a knee and give, and like all of a sudden you start, like I'm visualizing that all in my head, right? There's something about the brain and body connection that it has to be in sync, right? And when you visualize, you can make it happen just as long as you're doing the action, right? So what I mean about the woo-ha stuff is that a lot of people, you know, ever since that book came out, like The Law of Attraction, it's kind of like, yeah, you could just think your way into it. No, I disagree. I think you have to make small actions, and then you have to visualize it, right? So I don't like completely, I get what the book is saying. I just don't want to discredit it, because it is talking about the visualization aspect, but then it's talking about the visualization aspect without doing anything. Like, action moves, if you're not willing to try anything, you're not gonna get anywhere. Like, if you're just like sitting in your bed thinking about stuff, you're just theorizing, all right, what could happen, which it's not applied knowledge. You have to apply the knowledge that you're learning from like these videos, right? Visualization. If I'm hitting the bag here, I'm not just hitting the bag and making it like, I'm not just going to town on it. I guess it depends on your goal if you just want a good sweat and workout. But for me, I still spar every day. I still teach clients. I spar with my newer students. You know, you have to be controlled about it. I spar with high level fighters and you have to adjust to that. So visualization is key. So what I mean with the bag, look, it doesn't move, but I'm thinking that it kind of does, right? Like I'm thinking that it's tired and then I'm moving around the bag and you know, like I'm defensing, right? And then I'll hit, boom. And then all of a sudden the bag's hitting back. So I'll kind of move and then I'll move again, right? That's visualization. The bag's actually not moving, but I'm pretending like it's moving. But then that comes into fruition. The formula is that visualization with action makes you indestructible, right? You're still learning, you're probably still gonna suck, but you're gonna suck even less when you put those two together, right? Because like I say, look, never arrived, always becoming. I have that for a reason. You're never arrived. Like even when you reach your goals, like I have bad news for you, but yeah, when you reach those goals, you're gonna want more and more and more progress. Like if you're gunning for like $1 million, well, what do you think is gonna happen? You're gonna be happy for 2 days, and then you want $10 million, right? That's why, hence, never arrived, always becoming. Anyway, sorry, I got off track there. But visualization, if you're putting it into action, right? Here's one step to take. After a training session, think about that training session, which is literally visualization, and then think about how you can get better overnight. Do that before you go to sleep. And then think about in the morning. Think about it in the morning, and then just have it in your mind. Repeat it in your mind. Like if you're sparring or if you're just hitting the bag, and practice yourself moving your hip, or visualize yourself that you're practicing moving your hip and you're doing the proper technique. It goes a really long way. And then especially if you're fighting someone too, visualize yourself winning. Visualize yourself how you're gonna win. Visualize yourself how you're gonna do those techniques to counter back, and then when you're gonna get them, right? I don't know if you guys watched the movie like Last Samurai, but then Tom Cruise at this one scene where, you know, he was surrounded by all these guys that wanted to, I guess, jump him or fight him. He visualized it first in his head. Now, I know it's like, it's a movie, but it's true. There's a reason why they did that. It's visualization. It's what you think is gonna come up, and then that's why we train how to kickbox, so it's in our body in case something goes wrong. But yeah, I visualize it all the time. And even when I'm practicing these moves live, I'm visualizing myself being good at the technique, all right? I still can't explain how it works. I know it's like part of this, like I mentioned, a law of attraction kind of principle, but with action, I do believe that you can manifest it, right? We hear that word all the time, manifestation. Yeah, let me think my way into it. Add action into that, right? You add actually training and then visualizing along with your training and the momentum that you're building. And I promise you, it'll make you like 10x better. It'll make you 10x better because now you're intentionally learning. You're using your mind and your body, and you're slowing things down for yourself when you visualize. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. Oh, what do I gotta do wrong? Okay, so next time, you're literally visualizing what you're gonna do the next time to get better at these things. So yeah, that's enough of a rant for me, but I think these are very important, and I just wanted to cover both of them, right? The identity shift in your mind and the visualization that you wanna think about you know, for like your future training sessions, because mixed with those two, yeah, it's not just about doing the moves. A lot of it, if you've ever heard, it's like an IQ fighter, and I'm very prideful of that. A lot of people, when I was coming up into coaching and fighting, a lot of people would tell me that it's like, oh, you're an IQ fighter, like, you know, I really like how you do it, like you take less damage and stuff like that. Well, yeah, because I visualize not getting hit and then I'll back up and counter. Like you make an identity for yourself and then you visualize how you want that to go. All right. So, all right, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope that this video helps because it's actually one of the more important videos that I did. Mindset is everything. Boom. Mindset is everything. I have all these like quotes, you know, it may seem a little cringy at times, but it's true. Like you have to follow a base of principles, and that's why I have all these nobody cares, works harder, nobody cares, work harder. Mindset is everything. On that one, I say I have do it, just do it, don't quit, and all that stuff. All right, I visualize these things, I make it a part of my identity, and that's what makes me better. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, go on my website, click on the show links down below. It's chrissicat.com, and sign up for my email list. I'm trying to build a community of like-minded people that want to learn kickboxing and just better their lives, just be more confident, have that mindset shift that I was talking about, and hopefully I'm making an impact, you know, on the world. Honestly, that's like my purpose through what I know. So thank you for watching, guys. See you on the next one.